Oh no.
Help!
Don't worry, Mother. I'll save you from the marshmallows.
Aujourd'hui, maman est morte. Ou peut-être hier. Je ne sais pas.
Hi everyone, this is Christian from the Stone Eye, and you're watching Beyond the Pale, episode 3! Once again, this is the show where I analyze the music of the Stone Eye while teaching you some music theory in the process. So strap in, youngins, cause what else are you gonna do? So today we'll be looking at the
11th
track off of our 2020 release, Ventura, called Beyond the Pale. Huh, Beyond the Pale. Sounds familiar. For this song, I just want to focus on one section, the outro. So let's dive in! What makes this part fascinating to me can be summarized in one word: harmony. The harmony in this section is both subtle yet dense, and will be the main focus for this entire video. So let's check out the guitar part, which is the foundation for this entire section. So looking at the guitar parts, we can see that it features something called a non-chord tone. A non-chord tone is basically a note in a chord that doesn't belong there. See, in Western harmony, chords are built off of something called a third, which is the distance between one note and another note 2 notes away. If the first note was 1, then the second note would be 3, therefore a third. If we stack 2 thirds, then we get a simple triadic harmony, 1, 3, and 5. If we stack 3 thirds, then we get something called a 7th chord, 1, 3, 5, and 7, which is slightly more advanced. Keep that in mind for later. So if we look at a condensed version of the guitar part, we immediately don't see any chords based on thirds, at least in the beginning. For the first chord, we start with the notes F sharp, C sharp, D sharp, and B. We would think that off the bat that the chord would be an F sharp, because we already have a 1 and 5 of the chord. But where's the 3? There's no A sharp. Instead, we have a D sharp that resolves to a C sharp and a B. So we could look at the D sharp as a 6th resolving to a 5th, and the B as a 4th that doesn't resolve. The resulting harmony is what we'd call a sus4 chord, which has a 4th in the chord instead of a 3rd. In the next chord, we have the notes F natural, C sharp, and B. This is even stranger because the C sharp is a 5th away, but doesn't really relate to the F natural in terms of regular thirds. And the B isn't a third at all. So we would call the C sharp a sharp 5, since it's raised by 1/2 step above the normal 5th, C. That C sharp resolves to a B, which doesn't really help matters. So if we look at the B, we would probably call it a sharp 4, since it's 1/2 step above the natural 4 in F, which would be a B flat. Still with me? Okay. We'd call the resulting second chord a tritone, which is the interval between one note and another note 3 whole tones away, which would be either the sharp 4 or the flat 5. Okay, that was really dense. So let's settle down a bit. In this last chord, we do have a chord based on thirds. We have the notes E, G sharp, and B, which gives us a good old 1-3-5 chord. So that's the chord progression in a nutshell. Next, we're going to talk about the vocal parts. So let's dive into that too. The vocals in this section build off of the chords using what's called upper structures. To describe upper structures, we're going to need to go back to the idea of thirds. You know how I said we could technically just keep stacking thirds? Well, after we pass the 7th chord, we can just keep going. We can get a 9th, an 11th, a 13th, and so on. These higher third relations are called upper structures and are used in a lot of different types of music to provide more colorful sounds. So knowing that, let's look at the vocals. So in section 1, the vocals start on top of the tritone in the second chord. On top of the notes F natural and B in the guitars, we have the notes F sharp, G sharp, and D sharp, which serve as the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the sharp 13th. We could also look at this as being a G sharp minor 7 chord over F. This moves to the E major triad, where all the notes are either 1, 3, or 5. In section 2, we have almost the same thing, but there's a held D sharp over the first and second measure. This would be a 13th to the first chord and a sharp 13 to the second chord. These two chords could also be spelled as a B major chord over F sharp with an added 9th, and a whole tone cluster if spelled in order. In section 3, we have a similar situation, except now we have a held D sharp, G sharp, and B. This would be a 13th, a 9th, and an 11th, or 4, in the first chord, and a sharp 13, sharp 9, and sharp 11th in the second chord. These chords both end up being kind of clusters as well, when placed in order. If I had to describe the final chords in this section after everything is put together, the chords would be F sharp 13 sus 4, G sharp minor add 4 over F natural, and then a good old-fashioned E major chord.
Wow.
So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, and
Oh no. No, 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 exclamation.
Oh